Originally by Carol and Duffy, is an autobiographical poem in which Duffy really explores the feeling of isolation and confusion one feels when traveling, well, in this case, when moving to a new foreign place, a foreign country. In her case, Caroline Duffy was impacted greatly by the fact that her family moved when she was just 6 years old from Scotland to England. And throughout the whole play, it's evident that she is kind of reflecting on her youth and reflecting on how that impacted her, not only her and her family, but and the first stanza discusses the memories that she can recall from the time. It starts off by saying we, and as will be noted throughout the poem, she does discuss not only how she feels, how she believes the move impacted her, but she also discusses how it impacted her family as well. So then we came from our own country. It is seen that she is possessive towards her country of Scotland in this case, and has like the strong tie. The use of red room indicates that this voyage isn't a pleasant one, because red isn't really a pleasant color. It has a negative connotation. And so when she states fell through the fields, that the room fell through the fields, it gives the poem a sense of hopelessness at the point. Like, it's something that's out of her control. She cannot control the move. Then her mother sings, that shows the optimism of her mother, that she's hopeful for this new home that they're going to. Her brothers cry, though, and one of them is bawling, home, home. The fact that home is repeated twice and capitalized each time and italicized shows the emphasis of home, that what they're going to is no longer going to be their home. And then the miles rush back to the city. That's personification, and in this case, I feel like it is her mind rushing back to the street, the house, the vacant rooms where they didn't live anymore, which would be her home, where she feels safe. And she stares into the eyes of a blind toy, holding its paws. Holding its paws is something very childish. It lets the audience really know that she is reflecting and remembering this from the point of view when she was a child. She's not restating it in her words now. She's using what she would have described it as a child. She's holding its paws, which is something that comforts her. And while her brothers are loud bawling about the fact that they do not wish to move, she is quiet about the discomfort and just that negative feeling she has for moving and leaving her home, her own country. And then the second stanza, it just talks about once you're in the new country, the different emotions and the impacts that you'll have, that the move will have on you. So she starts off by stating a universal truth, in a sense. She goes, all childhood is an immigration. And which basically, this is one of the most important lines of the poem, since it is a universal truth, and she's basically stating that the process of growing up, there is definitely going to be change involved. It's something that is inevitable, and in this case, it's something large, like moving to a different country. And yes, so then she contrasts between the two types of emotions that you'll feel. The first is the feeling of isolation. She says, some are slow, leaving you standing resigned by an avenue where no one you know stays. And again, it's feeling unnoticed. No one you know stays. You are different. You're foreign. This is not your home. And then the other is sudden, your accent's wrong. This shows the importance that of being accepted, and showing that although she can speak the language, her accent is wrong, that speaking it isn't the only problem. You have to blend in. She talks about confusion in the next line, where she says corners which seem familiar, leading to unimagined pebble-dashed estates. Again, this gives you a feeling of confusion. And throughout lines 9 through 12, she has been using an apostrophe to put you into her shoes of what she felt, because she's beckoning you to put yourself into that situation, leaving you standing, knowing your accent wrong. It's just an emphasis of what she was feeling at the time. And she says, big boys eating worms. Again, another two very childish like phrases, and just to show that this is straight from her childhood, and really clues in that it is a reflection of her childhood and of the move. And they're shouting words you do not understand. Again, that sense of confusion of being a foreigner, being an outcast. Again, an apostrophe. Then she discusses her parents in the next line, stating, my parents' anxiety stirred like a loose tooth. Again, loose tooth. A childish expression. And but she is reflecting on not only how the move impacted her, but it also gave her parents anxiety. And it affected more than just her. And she returns back to the point that she made in the first stanza of her own country. Now, we know she wants to return to her own country, as she says it. And then the third stanza is just a reflection, and really like once you fit in, but you still don't really have that feeling of acceptance still, although you meet all the criteria, you'll never really feel accepted. It puts you in a weird median because you don't know what to identify with. She says, she again opens up with an apostrophe, you forget, and then she says, seeing your brother swallow a slug. This is a comparison with the when she says big boys eating worms in the second stanza. Now she's saying your brother swallow a slug. So now your brothers become like the big boys. They are the big boys. And you feel a skelf of shame. A skelf is a Scottish word, and it means a splinter. And again, that shows how this is a reflection of her childhood. She was from Scotland, so the use of skelf just shows that she still is not forgetting her past or what she identifies as her own country. So you feel a skelf of shame. She's attached, but her brothers have let go of Scotland and have become the Englishmen. And she remembers her tongue shedding like a snake. So now she finally, her voice in the classroom sounding just like the rest, her accent is gone. There's no trace of her being from Scotland. She's just like the rest of the English boys and girls. And then, do I only think I lost a river, culture, speech, sense of first place, and the right place? This is the loss of original identification of her own country. She no longer identifies with her own country, and she feels like she's lost a part of her throughout the whole journey. And then she ends by stating a question. When strangers ask, where do you come from originally, she hesitates because although she accepted by the English as being English, she has an internal confliction, and she's confused with what to identify with. And it leaves off in a very not hopeful kind of tone, it leaves off kind of leaving you on the edge of your seat, because it feels like the point hasn't been resolved. And basically, she's been trying to answer this question throughout the whole poem, but she's really come to no conclusion. She's, in a sense, confused herself even more than when she began off. And throughout the whole poem, the rhythm isn't set. It starts off with an iambic pentameter, but the caesuras that occur with the apostrophes and the period marks, it just throws off and creates that kind of sense of chaos, and how she's trying to reflect on her memories, and how it is just a composite of her memories and a mixture of putting you in her shoes and trying to have you feel what she felt during the move. It gives a sense of chaos. And it isn't something that's regular. So it is in first person, and it is a reflection. And throughout the whole poem, I noticed a repetition of the S sound. For example, at the end, it happens more often. Seeing your brother swallow a slug, feel only a scalp of shame, shedding its skin like a snake, my voice in the classroom sounding just like the rest, speech sense of space and the right place, strangers ask, I hesitate. And I tie this into when she says, I remember my tongue shedding its skin like a snake. I feel like this is a reflection of her being older now, reflecting on the past of her childhood, but it still shows how she feels like a snake, and how this question of where do you come from originally still tears at her a little, because the move wasn't a pleasant move for her. She wishes that she could have stayed and have not felt those feelings of isolation and being unnoticed, and confusion that she felt during the move from Scotland to England truly affected her. And it's just, her reflection has really come to no answer. She really just came to the same conclusion as she had before, that there is no conclusion, that she still will feel that internal conflict and doesn't know what to identify with.